say, who the heck am I? I'm Dion Wilson. I'm the CEO of Raster Technologies. So my team and I, we create software for indie artists. And the goal is really to get them monetized, get them the kind of data and interactions and collaboratives that help them thrive. A lot of talent in the market, obviously, and Remy is one of them. And I'm sure everybody here is connected to that, as well as to the artist market in general. And it's our goal to use technology in a more efficient way. But really, the honor of him coming out to Las Vegas, where I am, and meeting with me for a couple of days, sharing more of his vision up close and personal. And I really like what I see so far. Very much like Tiffany. You know, I'm actually not a fiction reader, with the exception of comic books. It has to be visual. And this is something that challenges me a bit, but I can see it. So that's what I like. And I see his vision. I see what he can do with it. And I think the market, there's definitely a need for his product in the market too. So that excites me. The business side excites me.
Nice.
Okay, I'll go next. Hi, my name is Tiffany. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and sci-fi or fantasy was never so I never really got into them. But when I saw the visuals for this, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, it captured you. It makes me want to dive into the world. So I was so excited to read this book, to be like a newbie in this field or in this genre.
So my background is directing. I'm a filmmaker. I live in LA. I've been here for 7 years now, which is insane. I've done a bit of everything, but like AI has kind of been my jam the last year, because it's just such a great tool to visualize every project that I want to make and get the best chance to basically be adapted and made into either an anime or a gaming or a live action piece.
I've known Mr. Remy here for 12 years now, live in Dallas, Texas. But overall, I love what Mr. Remy's doing. Eleanor, I'm excited to see what you have coming this way too. Just the visuals. I am also same kind of reader. I'm a visual guy, so I need that comic book, or I need an audiobook. So it's helped me really envision the path going forward. So I'm excited and ready to hear everyone else's thoughts.
I'm Devard. I'm an architect here in Tulsa, originally from the Bahamas. So I'm a road transplant, but I'm also, being an architect, being in the design world, I'm also very visual. So I am also looking forward to seeing what the book would be portrayed in with Eleanor. I'm very excited.
Yes, is it safe for me to go?
Yep.
All right, good morning, good day, whatever time zone you're in. My name is Yaz Dawkins. I'm also an architect here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, also from the Bahamas. I'm really excited to be a part of this project that's going on. It's really cool, and as I read through the story, going to chapter 3 and whatnot, it was pulling me in more and more and more, so you can't just stop at chapter 3 now. So the people are hungry. We want a little bit more, but I'm excited about it. So
I'll just introduce myself quickly. Took on the role of campaign management and trying to drive this project forward and just make it the best it can be, because there's a lot of potential here, as I'm sure you've already seen in 3 chapters. So the first question, I'm going to come to you first, Eleanor. Did any part of the story remind you of something you've read or watched before?
There was a lot of history in it that kind of reminded me of several different things. I feel like it was Hunger Games meets Black Panther, a bit of Ender's Game. I really identified with it. So it felt like, it reminded me of those.
It reminded me of maybe The Matrix, when Neo didn't know what was going on, and that's how it was, because we didn't know what was going on. And Marcos thought he knew what was going on, but did he really? So that's what I thought of when I first was reading the first chapter. Was like, wait a minute. So it just pulled you in?
I got a, kind of the feel of Hunger Games and Starship Troopers. I know some people here said Ender's Game, which is, I guess, kind of similar, but Starship Troopers, not so much the alien part, but the recruitment part, the military, the very strong military, pull in.
The anime references are there, the tournament arc and all that, kind of like that style of getting your team together, getting all the people in your crew. There's going to be the outliers in the group, and then you got to figure out how everyone works together. I love the references. I think it works really well for this kind of early building.
Man, when they had the battle going on, it kind of felt more like I Am Legend, with all of the different heroes coming. Yeah, that's the feel I got from that.
I'm curious about the connection, because one of the things that's building under the surface is this magical power, is this idea of fantasy. And we start out with a very strong, at least in my mind, we start off with a very strong kind of ode to sci-fi. So I was kind of in that, cyberpunk, kind of, mindset, and just futuristic mindset, knowing that magic is kind of bubbling under the surface. So, wanting to know when it comes to, I guess, the war that's happening in Nigeria, the war, as by way of America, what other countries are involved, how will all of these things coalesce? How will magic and sci-fi coalesce? So I'm really curious about that.
The question is, how did you feel about Marcos as a protagonist? First impressions as far as protagonists go.
I'll just start. I think I'm imagining him from the way that I've just been doing this anime trailer. I'm like, this guy doesn't give a fuck, but he also does, and I fucking love it. So, I don't know. He's got a badassery to him and some inner demons, and he is curious, but also just like, let's go, But I would like to see a softer side of him, which I haven't seen yet. And maybe that comes a little bit later. But I think the first impression is, he just is who he is and needs to, he's just going to figure it out. Yeah. I can see Tiffany's nodding. She's like, yep.
Actually, just to jump in real quick, I saw him as being very brave and very controlled and level-headed. The character comes across very smooth. He actually, with a lot of the heroes that I've looked at, or we just say protagonists for now, but he comes across the way that, kind of the general way that a hero would, not doing, as far as I'm concerned, not doing too much and not doing too little. So he seems like a really balanced character, given the circumstances of what's happening in his family, what's happening in the world. He should be more curious, but I think it's going to that, he's going to find stuff out, but he seems calculating too, as though he's intentionally not doing certain things for a reason. And it's all about kind of learning that. I could be projecting on the character. I'm sure I am, but that's the way the character comes across to me. I actually like his persona. I like his character. He's not too much. I think that even the young lady, Aurora, is being a little flirtatious, and he just remains cool. He doesn't overdo it, and that's going to follow him even when the antagonist is trying to get the most out of him. So I think he's pretty cool. Actually, I think he's pretty balanced as a hero. Yeah,
he is observant. I think that he is very disciplined in himself and what's going on. I actually like him as a character. I was like, okay, yeah, come on, Marcos. I like him. Because when you think about it, he came there to defend the country, but also look for his brother. And He doesn't really know his teammates, but they're his teammates, so he is very loyal to them. Like, he hasn't went off on Otis. It's like a lot of things that have happened, and he hasn't done anything. He's just like really, really paying attention. His relationship with Rye, like I want to know a lot. I want
what you said. What's the state of mind? The concept is this is an underground training facility and university, and so once you start to actually explore the facility and start to access some of these spaces and start to have to go through these courses, you start to better understand the goal is to make a well-rounded individual once they leave, not just some, sword swinging maniac. You got to have both sides once you arrive. So I love that feedback.
I think Marcos is a very smooth character. He actually comes off as a Bruce Wayne, like this playboy, but also has a dark side. And the dark side is that rage within him that, we've yet to understand where it comes from and what's that driving force.
And just a follow up on that, was there any secondary characters that stood out to you at all?
Osha. I think she's really cool. I want to know more about her for sure.
She's like that unknown badass that we're about to experience. I think she's gonna be.
I was curious about her too, because I was like, wait a minute, this is an older woman, but she got it, and come on now, yes.
And yeah, I like Ebro a lot. I'm just like, what is this dude's deal?
My secondary character that stood out would be Rye. I'm curious. How did you get there? Why are you back? How did you get back? Who are you? What's really going on? Are you going to be a part of the team?
The only way I can live, me personally, the only way I can live in a facility is if there's some bootleg stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? I need access. And so the only way that happens is if there's some type of tie back to modern day civilities.
Are we all in agreement that the most popular character at the moment is Ebro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to know a little bit more about Ebro, but yeah.
I love that. I had no idea.
I told you what was going to happen. You made him too mysterious. So, how immersive did you find the world building? Because, we go from Dallas to, Ebro's training and the futuristic elements. So,
I mean, it was very visual. I'm a very visual person. So I thought the world building was great. I think Dallas was very clear. To answer your question, I think they're outlined beautifully, and I'm very much having fun with the visuals right now. So I think that there's a lot of information. It's very rich, and maybe there's a way to kind of break that up a little bit better to make it a bit more digestible. I'm not sure if that helps, but that's just my 2 cents. It's just like, sorry, I'm a sci-fi nerd, guys. I'm going to shut up now.
You're in good company.
Yeah, I love it.
rolling.
Yeah. I grew up.
Okay, so we'll move on to the pacing and the flow. How did you feel about the pacing of the first 3 chapters? Did it feel like rushed, too slow?
I liked it. No complaints. I think it was good. Like, nailed it. The right amount of things happening at the right time to give intrigue. Literally no notes.
Yeah, I do. So for me, the pacing starting out was just kind of rough, and that was just because I was trying to get a better understanding of the world environment, the flow of it. But as we progressed into chapters 2, midway through chapter 2 to chapter 3, I was locked in. It was a smooth ride for me. So starting out,
were there any moments out of the whole 3 chapters that stood out to you emotionally, whether it was excitement, tension, empathy?
I think chapter 3 is where I really got kind of excited and into it. Yeah, I was like, oh, what's going on? This is cool. We're in a different world now. Sick. So that was me. I was like, because and that's natural. It's like first few was like the build up, and then it was like chapter 3. I was like, yeah, let's go. So I liked chapter 3. Yeah.
I have to second that. Like chapter 3 was spot on. Like just the action that was going on. I could visualize everything in my head. Like I was, again, I've said it before, but I was fully tuned in. I really was enjoying it at that point. So I was really good there.
That's that Game of Thrones part.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get across is there's no winning that fight. This is everybody's first time, and really, you know, the objective is just not to go down alone. It's really, you know, you're seeing what you're made of. If any one of us was thrust into that particular situation, it's gonna be rough. You know what I mean? So, you know, I wanted to deep dive into the perspectives of not just the main, you know, characters, but also jump into the spectator's perspective, looking down, you know, and maybe even the Ebro's perspective and looking at these, you know, freshmen, as I'm thinking in my mind. How do I tell a story without, you know, giving you guys whiplash by jumping into different seats? You know what I'm saying? But there's so many different angles to telling the same story. And I just want to give you the best perspective.